I'll just introduce myself quick. I'm Amy Timmerman. I'm a Nebraska Extension county-based educator located out of O'Neill, Nebraska.
And I am Lisa Lauver. I am located at the Lower Elkhorn NRD in Norfolk, Nebraska. I am the Bazile Groundwater Management Area Project Coordinator. So what is my position? It's one of collaboration and coordination between the NRDs, producers, and the agencies and partners. I basically herd cats because I have to coordinate around everyone else's schedule. On a more serious note, my main function is to promote water quality by advocating best management practices. These are core practices from the NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Service, uh, to be implemented by the producers and landowners in the project area. Water quality is the purpose of the groundwater management plan, point blank. And it is why it was developed by the NRDs and their partners. Which button is it? So the agencies include the producers, of course, natural resource districts, the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy, the EPA, the USDA, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, which we call the NRCS, the University of Nebraska, the Santee Sioux Nation, and various ag industry partners. So why was this project started? It was because of the high nitrate levels in our groundwater. And the rising nitrate levels are above, or we're approaching the federal health standard, which is 10 milligrams per liter or 10 parts per million. The BGM was started in collaboration with the local producers and NRDs to address the rising nitrate. These are managed by the four founding NRDs, which are the Lewis and Clark, the Lower Elkhorn, Lower Niobrara, and the Upper Elkhorn. And the BGMA is located within 3 counties, Antelope, Knox, and Pierce. A lot of territory. So a little bit of history. Late in the 80s, 1980s, this area was identified as the Bazile Triangle. Lots of research and studies have been conducted through the decades. In 2012, the area became known as what we call it today, the Bazile Groundwater Management Area. And the NRDs began actually starting to work on their actual groundwater management plan. In 2014, the NRCS and the NDE designated this as part of the National Water Quality Initiative Program, NWQI. And so the plan was created. And in 2016, the EPA reviewed and approved, and it was making the BGMA plan the first of its kind to address non-point source of pollution. So where is it located? These slides didn't come out the same way, did they? It encompasses, it's in the Northeast, it encompasses 21 townships. It's 756 square miles, or just under 484,000 acres. Lots of 10 communities and lots of cropland. Well, these are hard to see. Turned it all white. Let's face it, we live in an agricultural state, and the producers rely on the use of commercial fertilizer and manure, organic fertilizers. Nebraska's NRDs, through the Nebraska Groundwater Management and Protection Act, are responsible for managing the groundwater resources of the state, and along with NDEE, administer the quality aspects of the act. Each NRD has developed groundwater rules and regulations that outline enforcement within the district. So the main point is, what have we been doing in our groundwater management area? We have been 3 items, basically, is phases for regulations, priorities, tier area set, and repetitive monitoring. And now we are actually working with Longitude 103 in the development of the producer connect. So what have we learned? This is the map of the phase area in the BGMA. As you can see, we have phase 1, 2, and 3. The 4 BGMA NRDs have pretty much come together and made the rules and regulations pretty much match throughout. So in this phase 1 is less than 5. It's triggered by the nitrate level in the groundwater. And phase 2 is from 5 to 9 parts per million, and phase 3 is moving larger and larger with nitrates level above 9. We also have the priority tier areas, and what this is centered around the wellhead protection areas. And this is directly concurrent with the 319 grant funds payable on tier 1 and tier 2 as cost share for the BMPs that are implemented. So in 2020, the NRCS NWQI area expanded to actually overlap this in the same area. So that way we could apply more funding throughout the area. And the third portion is because we monitor the nitrate on a year by year level, we can actually start tracking and start actually looking at the numbers and the data from our nitrate level. So as you can see, this is a 10-year average from 2012 through 2021. I mean, you can see where Wausau over in that area is phase 1 still. It's less than 5, 0 to 5. But most of it is the dark blue, which is over 9. So this is a map that looks pretty much the same, right? Except for the colors. This is the 10-year average from the nitrate level of 2013 through 2022. So it's a 1-year shift in our data. So does it show anything? A nitrate trend? No, it's just giving us the average. But if we start comparing them, then we can see which ones have actually went up and went down. Did not come out the way they should have. So the little black boxes were actually gray with the actual numbers from the first 10-year average. And so overall, this is so this slide, it was actually showed the comparison. Rising trends are from 0.1 to 0.4 as an increase in average. The lowering is from 0.1 to 0.9. So this is great news for us to be able to track this and start looking at this data. And the thing about it was we looked at the last 3 years of this data, and we actually saw a very increasing decline in nitrate in the groundwater level. So we'll continue to do this. This is one of our main functions. So this brings us to the BMPs. Part of it, the measurable implementation includes the utilization of best management practices or BMPs for pollutant reductions. And what this is if we have a continuance of the implementation of these best management practices by producers that live in the area and farm in the area, then we're going to be able to track those measurable differences. And a bit of the history, under the Title 319, the BGMA received the Section 319 grant from the EPA, and that's to hire the coordinator and to focus on the improved BMPs in those tier 1 and tier 2 areas. It's a incentive for producers to sign up for the USDA NRCS equip programs. Along with that, in 2023, the IRA or the Inflation Reduction Act also increased the amount of funding. So what BMP's priority practices do we actually track? No-till, crop rotation, cover crops, both basic and multi, irrigation water management, and nutrient management. And cover crops are by far the most practiced with all of the BGMA. With advances in the technology, both irrigation water management, split application, of course, and nutrient management are all playing a large role and having an impact on nitrate leaching. So now we're going to get in. My chart didn't come out. So this chart actually will show. So I was able to track the BMPs, the five priority through phase 2 portion, and it shows that originally we only had 6,400 acres in our plan to actually treat. what became of it is out of tier 1, 2, 3, and 4 along the whole area, we actually ended up by about 86,720 acres that were actually ended up by treating. And I used, when we updated the plan and went for phase 3, we had to do a new TIP for the EPA. They have a new pollutant load estimation tool. And what that allows us to do is to estimate with the efficiency of the BMT that was applied on the total acres, we can actually estimate the lowered amount of nitrogen applied. So in the 3-year period from 2021 to 2024, June of 2024, I tracked the acres, I used their estimation tool and was able to actually, by using the tool, show them, the EPA, that we actually reduced nitrogen in the area across the BGMA through the phases of 92,000 pounds. So that's a good tool to have. We'll continue using it. Other successes, utilization of public outreach. That is the one way that we reach out to schools, to the communities, within the BGMA, to producers. We host a number of, our outreach and education has many arms, and many of the youth outreach activities are working with UNL Extension, FFA, 4-H, and presenting at water festivals. We're started a new approach with the INEs, which are the instruction and educators within each NRD, to go into the classrooms and actually help those teachers present and try to meet the Nebraska standards through Nebraska Connections. So we do youth outreach activities. Like I said, we host winter meetings for our stakeholders. We do community events. Like we'll have sponsored a booth at the Exceptional Women's in Nebraska this fall. A lot of things, but like Jennifer had showed, it's not just within the BGMA. So you can visualize the pink and the purple. And those are the spots that we really need to regulate. We really need to start working with our producers, because it's what we're worried about. It's not only because current levels are higher than the federal health standard, but it's also for our concerns for our communities, their health and welfare, and our economics of where we live. We want our farmers and our producers to be successful. We must continue these partnerships for the changes needed, and keep the knowledge and education feeding to the next generation of Nebraska producers. With UNL's continued partnership, the NRDs can rest assured that any new research and results will be a high priority. We depend upon the hard work of our producers, not only to accept change in the way they manage, but also to champion this change to protect the health and that of the neighbors. So we believe in that, and that's what I go out and do. So with that, there's other important, proven successful is the research and studies conducted that we have learned. At this point, I'm going to turn this part of the presentation over to Ed.